¿Me toca a mí? Ok, espérate. Ok, sí. No, necesito guidance. Ok. Ok. Vamos a ver aquí. No, es que a veces yo, como que since I didn't learn this growing up, I'm like, I really want to win. Are you competitive when it comes to,
I'm a bit
would you say?
competitive, but not as much. I
Not
just
as
want to
much.
play.
You just want to play. That's good.
I like to play.
Yeah, it ends up being worse when you're competitive because you're like,
Yeah.
I gotta get the next one.
No, because you get so stressed out. that
Exactly.
I don't like the stress.
I don't do that. Like I feel like I grew up with a lot of guy friends who like they loved watching sports, so they get stressed from that. I never get to that point, but
Oh,
I
very
do.
good.
I think I get to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna do better next time. I'm gonna win. Okay, parece que I'm gonna need to
Yeah.
get one.
We're
All right.
doing
I
fine.
think it's you.
Yeah,
You already won one so far. So.
that's right.
Okay.
But we're good.
Okay, we're getting there.
You see, I know I have to get one.
So for people who are just now tuning in, I want to welcome you to Puerto Rican Podcast. I'm so excited to be here with Pedro Julio Serrano. I'm really excited about the conversation we're about to have because I think I've seen your work over time, especially this past year, I would say. I've seen a lot of your work. And obviously to prepare for the podcast, I read up on you, I saw interviews. So I just want to say I'm so impressed and I just want to give you your flowers. You've done so much for your community. You've done so much in general. So thank you for being here. I really
Gracias.
appreciate
Thank you for
it.
that. Thank
Sí.
you. I love being here.
Sí. And you were telling me a little bit about like growing up. So you grew up fully in Puerto Rico. You spent some time outside, but tell me a little bit about what it was like, because growing up here back in I don't want to give away your age, but
Yeah, you can say it. I don't mind.
Yeah, tell me about that. Tell me
I'm
how
half a century old, so yeah.
Love it. That's a
I-
great way to put it. I can't. You know what? I can't wait
Yeah,
till I move down there.
en español es medio siglo. I like
Me encanta.
the heaviness. It's deep.
Exactly.
You know,
Sí.
to live half a century, it's a lot. But yeah, I grew up in Isla Verde. I was born in Ponce, actually, but then I lived 10 years in New York City, and then I moved back when my mom got sick. So I was fortunate enough to be with her for the last 4 years of her life, like living here, even though I traveled every month from New York to here
Spent
because
a
of
lot
my
time
work.
here. Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
yeah, but I grew up in a very conservative family, I would say. But my mom was like a powerhouse. She was one of the most incredible people that I've ever met,
Oh,
if
so
not
she's
the
a
most
big
incredible.
inspiration for you.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
my rock. Yeah.
Oh,
Así
and I
que
love that. And I guess I had a question because I remember I watched an interview with you kind of talking about how you first kind of talked to your family about your, the coming out story is really big. How was it? Yeah, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
it was
Your
hard at
siblings
first.
and-
Yeah, my brothers, one of them told me, "When did you find out?" I already knew it.
Like, I knew
It's
that
like,
already.
what are you talking about? It's like,
I love
you're not
it.
coming out of anywhere. We knew
Yeah.
that. And then the
Oh.
other one told me, so really? It's
Yeah.
like, so they
Okay.
knew.
That's good.
But then when I came out to my mom and my dad, it was hard because they didn't approve at first. So I had to move out of the house. So we went from maybe a little bit of rejection
Yeah.
to tolerance, where they would not want to talk about my boyfriend or
Right.
anything in the house. So you keep it outside. Don't bring it into the house or into our conversations. And then so that was kind of tolerance.
Yeah.
And then we moved to acceptance. And they fully embraced me. And then they came to celebration.
Yeah.
To celebrate everything that I am, not only that I'm their son, but also that I'm gay. So they view that with the passing of time, they viewed that as something that it's unique to who I am.
Yeah.
And they became activists. They went with me to the legislature. They marched with me. They went to the pride parades. They were very vocal, and they were showing how how love is such a powerful force.
Yeah.
And I never stopped believing that at the moment when they maybe had a little bit of rejection, that they were making a mistake. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and they didn't stop loving me. So
Right.
why would I stop loving them because they were making a mistake when they didn't
Sounds-
accept me? So
No, that sounds really healthy because I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we we get angry or we're sort of like questioning prejudice, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, why would you not just accept people? But you talk a lot about this in your interviews, just like meeting people where they are in that moment, right? And especially older folks, you know, you just want to like try to, and especially in Puerto Rico también hay una historia larga. There's a long history of struggle and people working towards this, which I'm glad you've mentioned this because I think there is sometimes that sense of helplessness, but we have to remember the wins and celebrate how far we've come. So.
And I think that the most important win that we've had as a movement, as the LGBTQ plus movement in Puerto Rico, has been this acceptance and the respect of our people. That is something that no matter what law they pass or what judicial decision comes, trying to take away our rights, that love and acceptance and respect from our folks, from our family, from our friends, from our coworkers, from our neighbors, that is not going to go away with the signing of a law. So I think that's very powerful.
It is. Yeah. And, you know, speaking about Federacion, right? Because like now talking about how important community is and these organizations that have come together. Tell me a little bit about how Federacion started. Because I didn't realize it was 8-9 months old. And I thought it'd been around for years. Just like it's the way you guys have been moving. You know, I've joined your WhatsApp group chats. I've joined like your social media, of course. Everybody please follow them. Instagram, you're on Facebook. Do you guys have a YouTube page yet?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So all of those places that you guys have been mobilizing, it's beautiful to see.
You can find us at Federación PR. It's very simple in all of social media. And Federación came about only 8 months ago. We were founded 5 days after the election. Because prior to the election, we knew that we were going to get a conservative government here and in the US. And I would say a fascist government in the US and a very troublesome government here in Puerto Rico. So we created El Frente Unido por la Equidad, which was a front of more than 50 organizations that came together to register folks to vote and to identify who were the allies and the enemies of equity in Puerto Rico. And we saw that work that was so critical and so important that we wanted to make it a permanent. So that's how the Federación.
So it became as an initiative that ended up solidifying into something that was
into
more.
Something. And we grew from 50 plus organizations to more than 100 now. And we have hundreds of individuals now that are part of the Federación. And
are all of these individuals here in Puerto Rico? Or are they across the diaspora as well?
We have people from the diaspora. We have people from Europe being part of the Federación. Because that's what we want to create. La Federación should be a place where we can come together. And as you mentioned, it looks like we've been here forever. But it's the collective power of more than 100 organizations and the hundreds of individuals that have done so much work throughout the years, that when we come together, it's so powerful what we're able to achieve because of that unity and that cohesive work, you know, of everyone coming together to do something great.
No, me imagino it's not easy because I think it's funny. A couple weeks ago, I was having a conversation around how to build solidarity, and I mean, you guys literally right after the election just said there's no other option because people say you know, I think these are conversations also more in the diaspora of like there's so many organizations but they're not collectively moving together.
That's right.
You know, and that's, you know, we could each do something within our local community. Vamos a decir, estamos en Santurce, we could do something in Santurce, but how do we mobilize on global? So can you talk a little bit about some of the initiatives you guys have worked on since you got together?
So it's not only about the LGBTQ plus movement. We stand in solidarity with the migrant movement, with anti-racism work, anti-gentrification, the conservation of our natural resources, you know, workers, feminist work. So we stand in solidarity with all of these movements because we know that oppression comes from the same place. So we have to combat it from a united front. And we say that we don't preach solidarity, we practice it and we show up. So some of the work that we've been doing, we've been working with the legislature, advocating to try to stop anti-LGBTQ plus legislation. We've been doing work to gather folks around this federación, and it was a lot of work getting folks to become members of the federation, because they have to talk to their folks and make sure that they're on board.
Yes.
So then they get on
It's a
board.
process. Right.
And we had an asamblea, we had an assembly, a general assembly, and now we're going to have regional assemblies at the senatorial districts. In Puerto Rico, we're going to have regional assemblies. We have been also being very careful in making sure that the media knows about our work and what our positions. And we have even met with the governor to try to convince her not to sign the religious liberty bill.
Yes.
That it's
I can only imagine.
so we've done a lot of work.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, and I
months.
find that really interesting too, because it's like, it's not just putting together a group of people, it's listening to people, it's listening to every perspective so that we can sort of grow. That's incredible. I know you sent me an article. I want to talk about that. There were a couple of other things I want to jump into, but I think it's really important to talk about those 6 pieces of legislation right now. So I think a lot of people, they're watching from the outside, or they're watching from their phones, right? We get into that kind of doom scrolling. We want to know ways that we can help. But first, understand, like, what are those issues? Like, what are the 6 pieces that people should kind of know about?
Sure.
You could go into.
So one of them is at the governor's desk right now. It was approved by the legislature. It wants to prohibit gender affirming therapy for minors, 20 years or less. And the thing is, all of the medical associations and all the health professionals have said, nationally and internationally, that these therapies are needed for our minors, so we're trying to make sure that the governor doesn't sign it into law and that she vetoes it. But it would criminalize health professionals with 15 years in prison if they provide this therapy. That is life-saving therapy. So it's incredible the lengths that they go to try to suppress things that benefit a very small portion of the population.
Right.
So
why are you targeting a group of people that are just trying to live, trying to exist?
That's right. And instead of dealing with the energetic crisis, with the rising cost of living, with the gentrification, with the lack of housing, with the health crisis, you're dealing with people making decisions about their children, or their youth. And I think it's incredible. The other one is to try to make an exemption for religious-based organizations to not give children in adoption to same-sex couples. Right. That's absurd. Yeah. It's already legal, so we should keep the church out of the state. That's another one. The other one is to try to ban inclusive bathrooms, which are called family restrooms. That everyone can come in and be safe, and nothing happened. And then the other one is to ban trans women from competing in sports. That's absurd as well, because if a trans individual has the ability to play sports, why would you negate them the opportunity to play those sports and to earn a living if they go on a professional route? And the other one is to send trans individuals to a prison, if they are incarcerated, to a prison that goes not to their gender identity, but to what they're not living as.
Right.
So I think that's another one, and
and that's super problematic, because there was a case, and I remember reading about the case where someone was actually killed.
That's right.
Because they were put in the wrong.
In 2020,
space.
Penelope Diaz was murdered in the Bayamón Correctional Facility for men, because she was a trans woman and she was sent to a men's prison. I'm sorry, and she didn't have to be killed. Yeah, she didn't have to die.
She didn't have to die.
And with the bathrooms, that's another thing. We had Alexa. For years, the fundamentalist leaders in Puerto Rico have been saying a trans person that goes into a bathroom is a pervert. So what happens when actually a trans person went to a fast food restaurant and went to a bathroom? What happened? A person took a photo of her, put it on social media, it went viral, and they followed her, and they were posting her whereabouts. Now she's at the gas station. Now she's at the pharmacy. 24 hours later, we found out that she was murdered.
Yeah.
Not before they filmed the attack against her and posted on social media to send a message to trans people: if you go to a bathroom, you're gonna be next.
Wow.
So that's what, and I think that's the critical thing about all of this, is that the rhetoric becomes actions, and people follow that.
Yeah.
And we lost Alexa because of that, and it became an outcry that I think people realize in Puerto Rico that transphobia kills.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we must do better.
Yeah.
We cannot target people because of their identity, of who they are, who they love, and I think it's dangerous because now they're targeting trans and non-binary people,
Right.
but then they're gonna go after other communities.
Which, again, begs the question, they're introducing these pieces of legislation that supposedly are to address problems, and yet the actual problems, right, these killings and these murders are not being addressed, right? When we think about the femicides, all of these things aren't being addressed in order to push a political or like a religious agenda, you might say, right?
That's right.
So I guess, can you talk to me about what actions people can take, right?
Of
Because
course.
you guys are very organized. You guys are putting together a lot of things. I did notice that I think next month you do have a virtual
That's right.
meeting, and
Yes.
I'm joining that.
Good.
And just trying to get the word out on things, but also what are some things people can take
Sure.
action in?
So on Saturday, August 2nd at 10 a.m., we're going to have a virtual assembly to make sure that people from the diaspora and people from the archipelago can join.
Okay, good.
And make sure that we hear about what our needs are and where we need to continue to move the work. So we need to listen to each other. So that's going to be critical. So we invite everyone to join us. But above that, we are also doing advocacy training to make sure that people are
Give them the
advocates,
tools.
and that you can go to the legislature and you go to talk to your representative or your senator, and you tell them about how critical it is that they don't pass this anti-LGBTQ plus legislation, or anti-feminist, or anti-immigrants, or going after communities just for who they are.
Yeah.
So we're doing that advocacy training, and that's another thing that people can do. Actually, my start in activism was,
Oh, really?
I was reading in the newspaper in 1997 about a bill that was going to try to prohibit same-sex marriage.
Okay.
That was already prohibited, but they had a bill, and I decided to go to the legislature and give my testimony. And it was out of the blue. Nobody taught me how to do it. I just
Okay.
wrote something and I just asked for a turn, and I went and testified. So I think everybody can do that.
Right.
You can write to your representatives, you can visit them, you can talk to them, and because
Such a powerful way, like
It
that
is.
face to face and hearing
course.
your story, a
Yeah.
personal story, a person, right, behind, because I think you're right. I think they assign a label, they push a certain agenda of hate, and it's like there are people behind it. There are actual human beings behind
right.
it. So thank you.
after our assembly, our virtual assembly, we're gonna do regional assemblies. That we're gonna go to the 8 senatorial districts.
Okay.
In Puerto Rico, that's Mayagüez, Ponce, Guayama, Humacao, Carolina. We're gonna go to all of the regions to make sure that we listen face to face to people that are living there, so we know. In Puerto Rico, we have more than 20 Pride celebrations that are going on.
Yeah, I did hear about the one in Cabo Rojo. You
That's
went to
right.
that one.
Yeah,
How
well,
did that go?
Yeah. I'm the lead organizer of that one.
Ay, qué
It's
bueno.
Orgullo Boquerón. It's the largest Pride celebration in the Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. We have more than 40,000 people showing up.
This is good to know. I'm going to
That's
be
great.
sharing that so
Yeah,
people can
of course.
attend next year. Okay.
It's Orgullo Boquerón, and we have the one in San Juan, we have in Arecibo, we
That's the one I
have
went to, yeah.
in Ponce, in Rincón, everywhere,
Wow.
in Guayama. So that's another thing. People can join those Pride celebrations because visibility is very powerful. When we make ourselves visible and we're part of the conversation and people see us, you change hearts and minds.
Yeah.
So I think that's another piece that is critical. And we invite folks also to join the Federacion. You can join as a member, and you can be part of the secretariats. We have 10 secretariats that are based on issues that are
Specific
critical,
issues.
like,
Okay.
for example, anti-racism work, functional diversity, migrant work, also health, legislative issues, judiciary issues. So we have, those are like working groups that make sure that the work of the Federación keeps on marching on.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you guys also have all of the sort of people with the different skills sort of in their own silo, but also working together. Because I think sometimes we are so overwhelmed by the magnitude, but we don't realize that we've come so far because of this organization and this like this advocacy work. What am I missing? Anything else? Actually, I think I want to take a quick pause. I want to ask for. There's a little baggie with something I wanted to give to you.
Oh, good.
So if you want to stay here, I'm gonna give that to you, a little present before we continue.
And I think one of the I don't know if we're taping, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so
do you want to include that?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Dime.
So one of the things I think that people are afraid for what we are living right now, because these are times where when we see all these attacks against so many communities, that we think that we get into panic and we despair a little bit. But we've been here before. We've traveled so far and we've conquered so much that people need to remember that we've done these fights before. And we've done it in more adversarial conditions. For example, LGBTQ plus peoples, we were criminals under the law until 2003 because we had sodomy laws that could send us to prison just for being who we are or for loving who we love. And we didn't have marriage equality. We didn't have the rights to not be discriminated in employment. We had hate crimes that were not solved, or so we've been here before. So what we need to do is to amass all the information that and the wisdom that we have collected across the years and make that into use and put it into use now. So I think that we need to remember that we have conquered so much that we need to bring that energy and that power back to make sure that we have our ancestors there holding us and making sure that we know the way and making sure that that wisdom that we have, we just use it for the battles that we have in front of us.
Absolutely. No, and it's definitely felt in terms of the things that are being put together, different groups across the island and the diaspora. So thank you for the work that you're doing. It's definitely gives people a lot of hope when we need it right now in these sort of interesting times, dark times. I did want to give you a present, though. I made you something.
I didn't bring anything.
No, you're okay. This is for you. I wanted to give you. So I was really inspired by some of the words that you have shared. So Puerto Rico será para todos. And then also you had said, nosotros merecemos vivir en paz, libertad y dignidad.
That's right.
So I just wanted to give you this
Gracias.
As a thank you for being here. And I also made another one.
Mira.
It's just the
Oh, wow, qué lindo.
que también para ti.
Muy bien. La próxima vez voy a traer la bandera. I'm going to bring
yes.
Qué lindo.
No,
this is great.
I do want to say, this,
Qué lindo.
This conversation, I don't want it to be the last one. I want us to continue talking and continue finding, at some point a panel to just understand there's so many issues. So I'm glad that you guys have the support you need, but we obviously can provide more support with these conversations and the dialogue. It's really what's needed. So gracias.
Muchas gracias. Gracias a ti. I'm honored. We can never lose hope. That's the only thing that they can take away from us. It's the hope, the love to each other. Treat everybody how you want to be treated, and never, ever give up. Never.
Gracias, Pedro.
No, gracias a ti.
I appreciate it. Oh, this has been great. Thank you, guys. All right, we didn't finish our game. Can we finish our game?
Sí, dale.
Okay, vamos a ver.
¿A quién le tocaba?
Yo creo que eras tú.
No, yo creo que te tocaba a ti.
Yo.
Sí, porque yo cogí.
Yo como que...
Sí.
Te vamos a ver. All right.
Me tengo que coger. Te toca.
Y creo...
Mira, esa te ganó. ¿Viste? Tú eres competitiva, ¿no? Yo no. So, finally, you got it.
Yes, I did
Qué
it.
bien.
But we'll keep doing this.
Claro.
Gracias por todo.
A ti.
And thank you. You've been super patient with us.
No, tranquila.
But this has been a great say. Gracias, Josh.
Sí.
Shout out to Josh,
Gracias a
Liz, and Lynn.
Mira, ganaste. Qué bueno.
Yeah, es que él siempre me gana. So
Sí.
if I win one time, it's crazy. Pero
Entonces,
We'll play more.
muy bien. Qué lindo,
No,
gracias.
Si sigo haciendo las entrevistas, who knows, I might become.
Mira, y esto es maravilloso porque le estaba contando a Lynn
Ajá.
que yo vivo en Santurce y yo camino. Y yo hago mi grocery shopping y todo, así que ahí tengo...
Oh my
ahí-
God, this is perfect.
Así que muchas
Sí, porque
gracias.
te iba a dar una camisa y después yo dije, no, pero me encanta.
Bueno, esto
Tú
es
sabes,
mejor.
I wanted to make you
Esto es
something
mejor.
more.
Thank you, qué lindo.
So-